People of the internet, the nominees are officially in, and we can now say for certainty that Hogwarts Legacy has not been nominated for Game of the Year. But not just for Game of the Year, Hogwarts Legacy completely snubbed, not nominated in any of these categories. Well, guys, here we have it. The Game of the Year 2023 nominations: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I've been saying for a while and trying to prepare Hogwarts Legacy fans for the fact that it probably, almost certainly, was not going to get nominated for Game of the Year. Now, some of these other things that we're about to talk about, I am kind of shocked about some of those, one in particular. But before we get there, I do have a beef to pick with the Game of the Year nominees. Alan Wake 2, absolutely. Baldur's Gate 3, of course. Spider-Man 2, yes. Mario, haven't played it, but from what I've heard, yes. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, absolutely yes. However, Resident Evil 4, one of these, ladies and gentlemen, is not like the other. Now, I don't want to hate on Resident Evil 4. In fact, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, you heard me right. One of my favorite games ever made. I bought it when it first launched exclusively on the Nintendo GameCube all the way back in 2005. And to this day, it is a game that I enjoy. And I can't wait to go back and play this remake. I actually haven't had the chance yet. However, this is a game, you heard me right, from 2005. Why are we doing this? Why are we nominating the game here in 2023? I don't understand. Why have a Game of the Year? I mean, it's literally called Game of the Year. Resident Evil 4, yes, they released a remake in the year 2023. It is not a 2023 video game. Now, I can hear some people now saying, well, what about if they make this kind of change and this kind of change and that kind of change, when the core game is essentially the same game that was released all those years ago? I just don't think it should take up a nomination slot here. I don't. Make another category for it. If it wants to win, Best Action Game and some of the other awards, sure. But to call it the Game of the Year, I just don't see how that fits. I mean, Lies of P would have been a better fit here. Final Fantasy would have been a better fit here. Those games and several others, Hogwarts Legacy among them, I mean, you're taking them out of even a chance here by putting in Resident Evil 4. Now, again, it may sound like I'm hating on Resident Evil 4. I'm not. I promise you guys, this is one of my favorite games. I love it, and I do plan to play this one eventually. Just don't think it should be nominated for the 2023 Game of the Year. Now, with that out of the way, I will go into this and fully admit that the 2023 Game of the Year awards, just overall, one of the most difficult awards ever, simply because 2023 has been just a banner year, an incredible year for video games. I mean, the games that we have gotten this year, the level of quality of the games that have released in 2023 is astounding. I mean, it really is astounding. There are any number of games that released this year, some games not even nominated for this year's Game of the Year awards, that would have won it in other years, would have beat games in other years. And this year, the competition was very, very tough. So I certainly want to empathize a bit with the voters and the nominees and the people who submitted all these things, because of the fact that it was a very tall order. Now, all that being said, I do have another bone to pick here. For my Hogwarts Legacy audience and the Hogwarts Legacy fans out there, I want to try and keep it as real as I possibly can with you guys. I don't have an issue with Hogwarts Legacy not being nominated for Game of the Year. Personally, I just don't think overall that it was that level of quality. It could still be one of my favorite games of the year, and it could still be one of your favorite games of the year. But just when you compare it to the rest of the industry, and you really have to start to pick and choose, what really pushed the industry forward in this area and that area, I can understand it. Now, there are some other areas and some other categories here where it is a bit of a surprise that Hogwarts Legacy wasn't nominated at all. The biggest one, in my opinion, being, where is it? I can't find it here. Best Score and Music. Hogwarts Legacy, not nominated. Now, this also happens to coincide with the recent announcement that Hogwarts Legacy's soundtrack has been nominated for a Grammy. Yes, you heard me right, a Grammy. And I don't know how many people caught this or not, but the WB Games Twitter account, right around the time all that the Game of the Year nominees were being announced, they just happened to retweet the fact that Hogwarts Legacy has in fact been nominated for a Grammy. So at least they're getting some recognition there. And that, I mean, the music is one thing that I don't know that anybody disagreed with how incredible the soundtrack was for Hogwarts Legacy. So to see it not appear here, and that's no knock on any of these games here. I haven't listened to all their soundtracks. So I don't want to pretend like I know what all of them bring to the table here. I've heard several of these, But Hogwarts Legacy soundtrack was absolutely incredible. They just did such a phenomenal job of taking something, these familiar tones that we know from the movie. And as someone who's not musically inclined, I don't know all the technical details and what each thing actually means, but it sounds so familiar, yet when you compare the two, it's very distinct. It's clearly something new, something different, and I just thought they absolutely knocked that out of the park. So to see them not get a nomination, that is a bit unfortunate. Another area I could have seen Hogwarts Legacy getting a nomination is Best Community Support here. I'm not sure why that highlight is doing that. And then I read the category, and what I had in my mind doesn't quite fit here. Now, obviously, me being a social media person who has covered Hogwarts Legacy extensively, of course, I'm going to have something to say about their marketing and about the team behind that, because the way that they approached and handled the marketing for that game, the way that they plugged in to truly diehard fans. I mean, I don't think they got enough credit for doing something like a gameplay showcase, which still I think is an incredibly unique thing. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of developers do something like that where they invite outside fans and influencers in and then just show the game. I mean, show the game off in a pretty transparent manner. And there's some talk here about, transparency, but then you get, game updates and patches. They haven't really been able to do that. Haven't been in a position to do that because they've been getting ready the Nintendo Switch version, which is about to release very soon. So not a huge issue that they weren't nominated there, but I do think they should at least be recognized somewhat, at least among us fans anyway, right? For the wonderful job that they did in the lead up to launch. Another category where you may have expected to see Hogwarts Legacy, Best RPG. Not here either. You got Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. The first four here, really tough to argue. I mean, outstanding titles right here. Lies of P, in particular, one of my favorite games of the year. I wish it would have gotten more nominations. In fact, I wish it would have taken that last slot over Resident Evil 4 as the game of the year. But hey, what can you do? Starfield, I don't know. I could easily see you putting Hogwarts Legacy here over Starfield, which, by the way, Starfield fans probably pretty disappointed at this Game of the Year awards as well, because Starfield, I think this might be their only nomination, which I thought all of the hype from Starfield, the fact that it was so recent, I thought it might be enough to kind of carry it through to a couple more nominations, but no, it seems like people have already kind of started to realize that, maybe it's not in that upper tier that we were hoping it would be. Now, they actually split up their action-adventure category from the RPG category, so Hogwarts Legacy is considered an open-world action RPG, so I guess you could decide which one you would want to put it in. It also did not get nominated for that either. You got Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And again, here we have some really tough competition. I mean, if you're going to put Hogwarts Legacy in, what do you take out? Again, I would probably go to Resident Evil 4. I mean, it did not release this year. Yes, I'm a little bit more okay with it appearing here. However, overall, I mean, I know this specifically isn't the Game of the Year awards, but overall, these are still considered the Game of the Year awards as a whole. And then you have these different categories. So that one's just kind of a bit of a head scratcher. I mean, I know you want to have some way of recognizing it because clearly developers worked on that and they did a lot of work. It wasn't like just a little visual upgrade and that was it. They did a lot more to this remake. However, still a little bit iffy that it appears there. The other four, though, I mean, it's maybe you put Hogwarts Legacy in instead of Jedi Survivor, but Tears of the Kingdom absolutely deserves to be there. Alan Wake 2, and then Marvel Spider-Man 2. Yeah, so just tough categories really overall. So if you're a Hogwarts Legacy fan, I think the next thing that you look to is, does Hogwarts Legacy finish out the year as the best-selling game of the year? We're very close to the release of the Nintendo Switch, and I wanted to pull this up right here because we got an update on Tears of the Kingdom. It has now sold 20 million units, which for an exclusive, absolutely phenomenal. Now, the last numbers that we got on Hogwarts Legacy were 15 million. However, that was months ago. Months ago. I think it was around May when we got that. Baldur's Gate 3 has also sold a huge amount of copies. So those three in particular, as well as Call of Duty, probably going to sneak into the conversation as well. I mean, they've been the best seller in the US for years. I think it was Red Dead 2. I researched this a while back. It was Red Dead 2 was the last game to actually dethrone Call of Duty in the US. I still think Hogwarts Legacy has a very good chance to do that. Maybe they're waiting till the end of the year when they can have a big announcement after they've got the Switch numbers in to say, here's how many units we've sold. I mean, at this point, I got to think they're over 20 million. The fact that they were at 15 million that far ago, I think it was May, Now we've had a number of Hogwarts Legacy sales as well, and then we're getting ready to release on the Switch. You got to think around Black Friday, around Christmas, they're going to do even more sales. We're going to have that Hogwarts Legacy documentary releasing. There's going to be a lot more hype around Hogwarts Legacy before the end of the year. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, fingers crossed, maybe we'll get a DLC announcement around, I don't know, December or something. They haven't said anything official. And I know, I can hear you in the comments now. Everybody's like, they said there's no official DLC. No. Go back and read the actual quote. They said no plans at this time. Very key difference there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Check out this video right here next. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I think I already said that, but I'll talk to you again soon.